Hey, Super Mario Brothers movie. It like came out like a month ago. The Super Mario Bros movie. How do you guys say it? Brothers?
Super
Bros?
Mario Brothers movie.
Okay,
Super
I just say
Mario Brothers
brothers.
movie.
Okay, so by now everyone's seen it, it appears. So I don't think we have to worry about the spoiler warning.
Yep, but 500, almost $550 million domestic, over 1.1 billion worldwide, like 10th biggest animated film of all time. It's like I'm honestly kind of shocked that it's done this well. I mean, I didn't think that people were really um that pent up for like a CG Mario movie after all these years.
Yeah. Well, it certainly was, redeeming from the one that they released in the '90s, I'd say. But
Yeah, but making fun of that is kind of like mocking the mentally challenged.
yeah, it's just sorry, Dennis Hopper. Um, but yeah, it's I I guess we'll just go around. Let's just talk about it. I mean, like, there's no reason to sit here and like mince words and stuff. So I really enjoyed this movie. I think it I was smiling during the whole thing. I mean, it was just like, and I kept like pointing at. I was like, "Oh, I get that." No, like I got the reference. I got that reference. I got that reference. It was just visually it looked good. I didn't I don't think any of the actors just, overall like really stuck out. But I think we talked about this before. The only one that really stuck out was probably Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong because he's just so
When you
good.
say stuck out, do you mean like we're like out like annoying or like just didn't belong there?
It's just
Or
like, okay, are you trying, Seth Rogen? Are you just being you?
gotcha.
That's
Yeah,
what I
no,
mean.
he wasn't
Like,
trying.
yeah,
He basically said that he doesn't do voices. That's what they said when they asked him like, yeah, we want to be in the Mario movie. It's like sure, but I won't do a voice.
yeah,
Yeah, that's what he said.
yeah. So, but did it bother me? Not really, because I really got into it. I thought it was fun. Like I said, lots of fun. And I was debating, and I know we talked about this a little bit last night, Jason, recording the comics podcast. But um, was it that I saw and heard more Super Mario Brothers 3 cues, or is it just that Super Mario Brothers 3 was so iconic as a game that everything else just uses it? But I just feel like it's more heavy. There's a lot of influences of that. There's obviously a lot of other things in there. Mario Kart, Luigi's Mansion. There's lots of references, but overall, I really got that kind of vibe out of this movie. What do you guys think?
Like how so? Like what do you mean by that?
Well, okay, so he goes to the Mushroom Kingdom, and and Toad's taking him around, and you're hearing literally the music from, and they're hitting the little boxes and stuff like that, and it's pretty much like when you go and you find one, you're in the mushroom. It's like, hey, Mario, pick a box, and I mean, it's literally the same music.
Hmm.
Yeah, and when you explain that, it just makes me realize and think that I feel like I've always felt like Super Mario Brothers 3 was kind of like that cemented foundation that shaped Mario into the more contemporary vibe that that we got of him probably up until Mario 64. And I say that just because we've had Super Mario Brothers 1, and then Super Mario Brothers 2 was technically another game in Japan. uh I forgot, it was like Toki's something. So
Doki Doki Panic.
Mhm.
thank you. Yeah, so it's like, that was just that game with Mario characters slapped on it. And Super Mario Brothers 3 was like a new build and a new way to experience Super Mario than we've ever gotten since the first one. And so a lot of, and what I mean by that too, like the transformations with frog suits and raccoon tails, the music blocks, like additional villains like the Koopa Kids, the map format, a lot of things, and even the music. And so like watching this film too kind of harken back to like everything of Mario. I've noticed a lot of things, not only from Mario Kart, but some references to Mario 2 with the Shy Guys,
Hmm.
you know, some other characters, and you know, as you said, references to Mario 3, but then also we got a little hint of Super Mario World slash
Sure.
you know, Yoshi's Island in there as well.
Mhm.
I think this movie was like an overall encompassing celebration of the Mario franchise as a whole, and I think we got a taste and a sneak peek of like what can be possible and what's to come uh, with this film franchise. Especially like if you stayed for that crappy post
End
credit,
credits.
yeah, end credit ending. It is what it is. But hey, you know, we knew that was to come eventually. That reference. But yeah, I mean, it was a very fun movie. It made me smile, and the whole time I've only got to see it one time, and I'm really itching to see it again. I can't wait for it to come on home video. But you know, the movie is a game in itself where you're trying to find the Easter eggs. There were so many Easter eggs that were kind of in your face, but then if you paid attention to other subtle details, you might like catch, you know, Easter eggs not only from Mario franchises but from other Nintendo franchises as well.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. What about you, Jason?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it's like this basically was just kind of like, you know, one big like, you know, like shotgun blast of references to the like to your face. But I enjoyed these references. I liked trying to like, you know, scan the background, see what it's like, what can I pick out from here? It's like I liked seeing you know, Donkey Kong again, you know, in the, like his family get referenced here, and seeing him take on Mario in like a Smash Brothers style bout, and Mario like like defeating him by using the it's like the cat Mario power up from Super Mario like on 3D World, and like they even like did give us a big old like, you know, I feel like I want to say Mad Max inspired take on Mario Kart. It's like that even took us right onto Rainbow Road, and honestly, getting my favorite reference to the entire movie when, you know, when like the blue shell shows up, and it's like, oh man, that was clever. That it was supposed to be something that I did not see coming immediately, but still made perfect sense within the context of the movie. And you know, it's like the movie was filled with stuff like that, and it's like, and you know, it's like I enjoyed it. I mean, it's like, but the thing is, though, this is absolutely not a movie you see for its story. I mean, the story is just like so barely there that it's kind of like you figure like, you know, why bother? I mean, it's just all it is just there to string together the references, and you know, it's like it does a good job of that, but at the same time, you know, like I just kind of feel bad, just like you refer, just like enjoying the movie, even though I have to just completely like write off the plot as like, you know, just like a lost cause. You know, it's like, I mean, if we're talking about, you know, stuff like movies that have like, you know, like taken like, you know, other commercial IP and done something more interesting, tell interesting stories with them, go look at the Lego Movie 1 and 2. It's like that's good quality storytelling while also like, you know, shotgunning like so many references into our face. So yeah, I'm there for the sequel. I mean, there's a lot more they can put in there. It's like, because God knows, like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing like, you know, seeing Yoshi, seeing Bowser Jr., seeing the Koopa kids. It's like, and man, I just what else, man? Oh, but seeing visit the Dark Souls kingdom from Mario Odyssey. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, um I like I said earlier, I really do enjoy this film. And I think that yeah, I don't think it needs too much else. Um here's my number one thing. I walked out of here. I seen it twice. First time regular, second time 3D. So my concern is like, okay, so how do you top that? You know, okay, so what are we going to be getting next time? Oh, okay, Yoshi. Got it. Okay, so will it be more of the same? Will we you know, will this be just as interesting the second time that we release it? You know, and so that's my concern, you know. While yeah, the story plot might be light. I wasn't expecting too much, you know. My expectations of it were okay, you know. However, as fun as this movie is, how do you top that? I felt and I guess I would say this. I felt like Myron's comment was most appropriate before, where it was like almost like playing a game, I think is what he said, or something to that effect. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of how I felt about it, and I almost felt like that's not a bad thing. If you can bring that kind of feeling into the movie, like, and it's based on a video game thing, well, why not? I mean, it that's what it is, right? I mean, it should feel like a video game, and I just don't know how much of this was engineered to be specifically that, but there is something here for old and young alike, and I thought that was outstanding. So, but then my question is like, okay, well, Super Mario World, okay, maybe we'll get that, and then what else? We kind of hit, I and here in Jason, here's my concern, Jason Myron. Here's my concern. It's like, are we burning out our references too fast? That's my only question.
I get what you're saying there too, and maybe yeah, we got, and this kind of goes to what Jason said too about story, and it's like, yeah, we got a slew of references and just the character introductions like jammed in our face. This next one, let's tighten up the story a little bit more, like have something a little bit more focused, whether this Yoshi egg reveal is related to Mario World or related to Galaxy 2 to some type of capacity. Let's kind of, reel in some type of focus, like, I don't know, is the Galaxy Stars in danger and Mario's got to save it from, Bowser destroying the galaxy, whatever the case may be.
Are all the Lumina as crazy as the one we saw in this movie?
Yeah, exactly. Like, are all the Luma demented, and Mario and friends have to like save them from, losing their purity and getting back to a cutesy nature? Who knows? But I do want to see some spinoffs from this, like thinking Luigi's Mansion as an example. I felt like we got a little taste of that when he landed in the Dark World. And so, I mean, the possibilities are endless when it comes to like spinoffs and what could be done. But you're right, John. It's like, yeah, we got a smorgasbord of like, not only Mario references, but other Nintendo references. What can we do? Did you burn out the gas too quickly? Or is there more that you could flesh out and bring out and get people back into the theaters to see a sequel?
I think that there's like so many like other references from Mario games that they can bring in here that they're like, they can just keep this approach like for the sequels, but it's just like the cut they got all through a lot of the most obvious ones that everyone wanted to see here. But so that means just the cuts are going to be like less obvious and deeper, like for each subsequent sequel, until it just doesn't become profitable for them anymore. I mean, I think as a hardcore fan, it's like I wouldn't mind that so much, because like that'll challenge me as a fan. Just okay, did I get this reference? So, but I don't know. It's like without like kind of stories, like that even that kind of like that kind of like approach is just going to grow old after a while.
And yeah, and now that we've been having this conversation, I do kind of forget, because I feel like I saw that movie a long time ago, even though it was like early April. It feels like a lifetime, especially when you become an older adult kiddies. Time just flies by. But I did kind of find the whole Mario older brother, I lost my younger brother, and I should have been the responsible one kind of storyline. As cliche as it was, like it did kind of warm my heart. Mario always had these like big ambitions and big dreams to show like he and his brother weren't small, and Luigi was always struggling about being like the meek and cowardly one, and having Mario step in. I mean, both of them from a character standpoint kind of had these little struggles that they were trying to overcome and deal with, and obviously like they were able to do that through the power of the Mushroom Kingdom.
If I'm going to give props to any one character's like arc here, it's going to be Bowser, just because like everything you've heard about Jack Black in this movie is true. He just like he gives the best performance simply because he actually like manages to like make you believe that Bowser is genuinely in love with Peach. It's like, and he just wants he's like, oh, I'm gonna marry her and it's gonna be great. And nope, like, and it's like, and this guy, I mean, yeah, it's ridiculous, but you still you can at least understand. I feel like I understood where he was coming from, as ridiculous as it was, and that's a credit to just how invested you could tell Black was with all this. And yeah, his Peaches thing was just was a fantastic earworm.
Well, that's always been Bowser's thing, dude. Was to like, hook up with Peach. That was kind of like the main premise, like one of the major main premises of Mario Odyssey, where you kidnap Peach and he's like, oh, I'm gonna marry her. And I remember you had to fight like on a big wedding cake or something like that. But yeah, you're totally right. Like that, like Jack Black's performance as Bowser, like I just love Peach. She's so cool, and he had this like kind of like puppy love kind of side to him that he would only like reveal to Kremzeek. But then, like, to everybody else, he was just that diabolical dictator that, everyone falls to his feet. And his only purpose of stealing a star was to present it to Peach as a engagement gift. So,
yeah, I will say that, it's like it's kind of like a weird thing to hype on. But this is probably the one thing that, the movie did better than the games. Is that I actually have sympathy. I actually feel like I understand Bowser better now because of the movie.
Jack Black did not. I liked it. His performance in this, excellent. And I thought the Peaches song is hilarious. So, and I wound up buying the soundtrack after Myron was like, "Oh yeah, it's already available." And he's shown. I was like, "Oh, dude, I gotta get that too," because I really did enjoy like all of the musical cues that they put in. That was really important to me.
Yeah, and Little V's metal cover of it on YouTube is great. Everyone should go listen to that too.
I'll check that out. And I mean, I think Jack Black did a little video too, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully that's legit.
Yeah, he did. There's a music video of it.
Yeah, I think that's legit. So
yeah, the Peaches.
Yeah,
I saw it. It was funny.
Yeah. So, yeah. As for just to comment on the whole like Luigi and the brothers thing, I thought that was good. I thought it works, and even though we really don't see a lot of Luigi in the film, so no. I mean we do see him in the beginning. I love I don't know, there was something really endearing about the first scene when they go to repair the bathroom and like the dogs like after him. I kind of dug that whole thing. That was at the end the dog is even like, yeah, you did good. Like he's giving him the like the nod of approval, which is hilarious. But having that whole thing come into the real world, like, and then the real world, mind you, it's like and the references that are in the real world. What did we see? We saw like an R-Wing. We saw
like a Punch Out Pizzeria.
Yeah, Punch Out Pizzeria. Like I'm sitting here going like, oh yeah, hey that. Oh yeah, hey that. And like I said earlier, I was just like, oh, this is so cool. So
and then we saw Mario playing Kid Icarus with an a Star Fox R-Wing hanging in his room. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
so
also like like his competitor Spike is apparently like meant to be like his boss from the Wrecking Crew video game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, that's yet another reference. Yeah, there's just so many things. So it's kind of interesting, Oh yeah, and the commercial they do.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And that the song is from the when did that show come on, that Super Mario Brothers Super Show? Because that's the song. It's the same dang song.
Yeah,
right?
It's the same song. It came out like I want to say like 87.
87?
No, like,
late 80s. Yeah,
it's like late 80s, 87, 88, around there.
Surprise you, my kids have watched that show. Like they're like, oh yeah, we picked up on that. And I was like, oh
yeah, and it's fun, and it's funny because they went to In the movie, I thought they were going to enter the Mushroom Kingdom in that same fashion, through a drain in somebody's house. But I like the way that, there were some hidden underground pipings under the city, did it a little bit more legitimately. But yeah, in that cartoon, yeah, the Mario Brothers had a plumbing service that, they clogged the wrong drain and got sucked into the Mushroom Kingdom. And the same theme song from their commercial was the same theme song from the television show. So I love that little addition right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a nice, again, so many nods, right?
Definitely. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm jonesing for this movie. I mean, everybody's speculating, and I'm hoping it's true that, by the end of the month, it'll probably be available to buy digital, because it's like I might double dip on this one, because I did pre-order the Walmart 10 star display,
Yep.
Blu-ray, and I can't wait for that. But I've been wanting to go back and see this movie again soon, but other films started coming out. But yeah, it was a really enjoyable representation of a gaming franchise that I grew up with, or we all grew up with, and loved. And I couldn't think of a better studio to kind of represent it than Illumination. Like, when you think of CG animation, obviously like Pixar is like that cream of the crop. But outside the Disney camp, when it comes to Universal, I have come to love and respect Illumination a lot more ever since Despicable Me. Like, that was a movie franchise that, for me, that came out of nowhere. Like, dude, what is this about? Like, oh, these characters look weird. But then, like, when I finally saw it, I was like, I appreciated the characters, the style, the animation, like the kind of goofy facial expressions with the minions and everything. And they've grown as a animation studio. And when I heard that they were doing the Super Mario Brothers movie, I kind of just already knew, like, this could have the crappiest story, but I think I'm going to like it and watch it, just because the animation style looks so clean and the characters look like the characters I know.
Yep.
So props to them, on executing this movie, and hope that they get a Kirby or, Splatoon type project in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. Go for it, Jason.
Yeah, like for a movie that was built on nothing but references and adapting gameplay elements into like an animated form. This could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, it's like, I do think it captured the spirit of its source material very well. I like the voice performances. It's like, and like, it even had some surprises for me. It's like, I mean, I think there's probably like a better version of the Mario movie, of a Super Mario Brothers movie made out there, with a story that actually has me invested in what's going on. But it's like, I'll be back for a for a sequel, even if it is just more references, deeper references, with Yoshi and the Koopalings and Bowser Jr. next time.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that sentiment as well. So I it was thoroughly enjoyable. Loved all the characters. I loved all the references, and hey, maybe we'll find out like where the princess really comes from.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a story there. Who knows? I did like that. The whole it's like, oh, you're human. Like, okay. By the way, the baby Luigi, baby Mario, and baby Peach, spot on. That's cool.
Yeah, it's like, I was surprised when she showed up as a baby. It's like, oh wow, like she looks exactly like like baby Peach does in the games.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe we'll get more story there, but I with Shigeru Miyamoto like helping like craft this thing, maybe we'll be pleasantly surprised with the next. I mean, I'm gonna say it that way. I'm gonna say maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised with the next film. I'm hoping that it's that the execution is as good as this one, with other fresh concepts in it. That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah, we'll see about that. And I'm sure Miyamoto's involvement was certainly key in helping everything stay on model. Of course, you know, it could be the reason why this didn't have like, you know, a story worth remembering in the first place. That's a whole other discussion right there.
Yeah. And that's fine. I'm totally good with it. Um, you know, well, Myron, you and I had speculated like they'll come out with the Super Mario Brothers game or something, and no, we didn't get that. That
Yeah,
came out- we kind of speculated about that. It was like, oh, that'd be a perfect time to launch it. But right now, I mean, the Zelda thing is just like destroying. I mean, like I was looking at a Forbes article, and it's basic like, and they were basically like, yeah. So I know we're switching a little bit, but not really. But they're like, yeah, this is the game of the year, basically.
it already is. I can
Yeah.
I can tell you from playing, but you know, I mean, you bring up a good point. Like that was just kind of like I was disappointed of like that being kind of like a missed marketing opportunity, so to speak. Like, oh, new Mario movie, like we're gonna get like an announcement of a new Mario game or a Mario game movie tie or something Mario game related to go coincide with the release of the movie. But in hindsight, yeah, that would have kind of been stepping on your own toes with Zelda, your biggest title of the year, you know, coming out a month later. But I still feel it's a missed opportunity in the sense of like, you at least could have maybe released Mario Galaxy 2 or something or something miss Mario that's missing on the Switch. I don't know. Like it could have been like a little, you know, I know with Mario Day they did have like game sales and stuff, but you know, to kind of bring back like a Mario franchise that nobody has had the opportunity to play on your newest platform, I think that could have helped with like, you know, that little extra hype, so to speak. And I'm mostly speaking about Galaxy 2. I've been bitching about that for a while.
Yeah, but we're already kind of spoiled for choice, but we're in regards to like, you know, Mario games you can play on the Switch. So it's not like, you know, like anyone was certain if they wanted to go play a Mario game, you know, like to tie in with the movie. It's like, I mean, they could pick from Odyssey, like they could dig up a used copy of the 3D. It's like the 3D collection. They could do like 3D World, Mario Maker 2, or go on Switch Online so I can play the Mario World 2, and like original like Mario 1, 2, and 3.
That is true, but I want to play Mario Galaxy. That's my bitch Nintendo.
Yeah, you're right. I'd like to play Galaxy again too.
you released the first one, like just bring out the second one already.
So on the whole speculation front, I was kind of joking with my son. I said, hey, you know what? How about a Dr. Mario movie? We kind of ran with that, right?
That'll just be another reference. Like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe not a whole movie, but a segment in the next film.
But one of my favorite games is, of course, Super Mario Sunshine. Like, I just love that game. I would love to see something, maybe that's not like they're in their immediate plans in the future, but maybe they can make something close to that. I like that.
That give them enough time. I'm sure they'll be like, they'll bring it. Like that might be the setting of like say part 3, you know, like everyone decides to go on a vacation. So where are you gonna go? Isle Delfino. I mean, where else would you go on a vacation in the Mario Kingdom? Mushroom Kingdom.
Or Mario gets arrested. Dun, dun, dun. Anyway.
Or aside from more movies, like maybe this will be enticing to start making a new series or you know, like maybe not a television series, but a streaming series. Because you know how like, you know, there was Despicable Me, and then it spun off into, you know, the side Minion stories. You know, that could be like, you know, Luigi's Mansion or something like that. But I would like to see maybe like this kind of spin off into like, you know, a 10 episode like streaming series on Peacock or something, like kind of harkening back to what we grew up with. Just not as ridiculous.
Yeah, sky's the limit, man. I mean, like, I don't see why they couldn't do it.
Well, they're clearly holding a golden egg because this thing made tons of money. Lot is very popular, and there's a lot of speculation we can do as to what could possibly they could go with. But like I said, I think it's like, this is probably going to be more of a joint decision. Like, Nintendo's going to go, okay, we're going to, yeah, we'll say yes to this. I mean, they clearly have some ideas of what they want to do, including Yoshi. But just to think about what the possibilities are, and I think that it, we talked about this. Now, this is like, what'd you say, Jason? The numbers were something like the total was like 1.2 billion right now.
1.1 billion worldwide. Yeah.
1.1 worldwide. I mean, so basically, we are talking about there's going to be a sequel. I mean, they got this golden egg in their hand. But what else could they, it's like, yeah, I'm just kind of like trying to think of like what else, they don't want to ruin it, so they probably will do something like where the might be a year or two out. They will. I think a bad strategy for this would be like, okay, well, let's release something here and let's do something here. I think oversaturation might be the problem with the MCU, not the Mario Cinematic Universe, the Marvel Cinematic. I think oversaturation is a problem.
I see what you did there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly what I did. So and so maybe they'll just take their time, and I mean, as much as
and unless they've already started like storyboarding this next one, and CG animated films take time to make, so I wouldn't expect a sequel before maybe 2026.
So,
So-
we'll probably get another Mario game before we get another Mario movie.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
And-
I hope so.
Yeah, but
And-
what also we can also hope for is that because this is shown that hey, it's like this is like people are jonesing for Nintendo for like it's a big win for Nintendo, and like people looked at they made a successful Mario movie. What other Nintendo franchises can we make? Can try and replicate this success with? Hey,
Yeah,
it's like Zelda just came out with Tears of the Kingdom, so everyone's probably kind of wondering, hey, Mario got his movie. What about Zelda?
I feel like Zelda. I feel like both Zelda and Metroid need to be more live action films. That's just my personal opinion. And with Zelda, that you would definitely need to find the right director, the right story writers, and definitely tread carefully with that one. That one you can't F up. But given that this was like, I don't want to call it a fly by night success, but Nintendo has properties that are widely known, widely popular, that can be done very well and well adapted into film. I mean, not too long ago, I rewatched Detective Pikachu. Like, I love that movie. Like, I feel like maybe the CG could have been better, or maybe designs on certain Pokemon, but overall, like, I did feel like Pokemon actually existed with humans in that world. And so, like, that was kind of like the first taste of, like, I guess Nintendo kind of trusting us again, or trusting,
trusting people to work with their properties.
Yeah. For the longest time, 93 Mario, bit us in the ass, and like didn't want to touch Hollywood whatsoever. But now this is proven like, hey, we just like you guys just said, hey, the numbers are hitting and people are, thirsting for this content. Like, what else can we do? And it's like, from a CG cartoon aspect, like, you have Kirby, you can do Donkey Kong, like I said, Splatoon. But, when it comes to Metroid and Zelda, there's real opportunity here to make something epic. Like, I've always felt that, if we could do Lord of the Rings well, we could do Zelda fairly well. You just got to put in the time and get the right people behind it. And with Metroid, get Ridley Scott on that shit. He'd do a dope one.
So, so part of the thing is like, I think we talked about this before, but like when we take Mario, well, just as a character, or we talk about Super Mario Brothers as a franchise, like, in one sense of the word, this movie is kind of a drop in the bucket if you think about it in terms of profitability. However, it is also important that you don't taint your brand either, because nobody wants to. If you're gonna, you're gonna have somebody. I think this is probably a reason why, Shigeru Miyamoto probably had some, it's like some real, they had some real stakes in this, because while it is, like a $1.1 billion movie, the effects of it are going to be, like that's now putting your IP out front. So while, like, I don't know, I heard some estimates that Mario as a franchise himself and everything, it's like a 5 billion, like more than 5 billion, like, like type of property. Like, so 1.1 billion may not seem like a lot, but now this is like your front runner of advertising. This is like, we got to get it right. We've got to get these things right and be able to do that. And we definitely don't want to kill that goose. We don't want to taint the image. So I think that's got to be in their minds. Illumination did a fantastic job with the animation. It just looks so clean. The 3D version looked amazing. But and now the other piece of this is that with successes like this, we're going to have other studios licking their chops, going like, can we do this? So expect that.
Well, I think we had this conversation not too long ago, but I feel like we're coming at that point where video game adaptations are starting to get better, and we are starting to see those chases of like, man, this was successful. Like, can we do that? Like look at The Last of Us, for instance, like on HBO, like phenomenal show. And as a fan of the game, like they were spot on a lot of things. I'm not a Twisted Metal fan, but I saw a teaser trailer for Twisted Metal, and that looks awesome. Like I do want to see that. And as I said before, Detective Pikachu, great movie. Sonic, the Sonic movies have been great. So it's like, I feel like Nintendo, obviously because of the Park 2, Nintendo has a relationship with Universal right now, and this is their opportunity, while they have this partnership to expand their other IPs and make like honestly, now that I think about it, I think Pikmin might be another franchise they might do next, just because of those Pikmin videos that came out on 3DS and Wii U. But this is a real opportunity for them, as you said, to put their brand out there, like even more so. But you want to be careful about how you tread and how you build this product, as to not taint or sour the games. And so I think that's why Miyamoto having more involvement in this process in Hollywood, like I'm sure he's going to have even more involvement when they do other Nintendo properties. But as you just said, everybody now is like, oh, dude, we need to do like I don't know, BioShock movie, or we need we need to hurry up with that Metal Gear movie we've been talking 15 years about. Well,
let's think about it. This is probably the most successful. This is the most successful video game adaptation movie, period. Right?
I believe so. Okay. Yeah.
I mean, but we've had things like Tomb Raider 2 different times.
Yeah.
Didn't really do that well. So maybe it was a refinement, and then this sets kind of the pace. And I think that Detective Pikachu and the Sonic the Hedgehog movies were kind of like, they're like precursors to this, they're foreshocks to this particular movie, right? Like this is what the fans, not only that, but the movie going public now wants to watch it. That's how it's going to be interpreted by the studios and everything else. So they're going to try to replicate that success because they want that 1 billion too. They want. So I'm just saying, it's an interesting time that we're entering now. It definitely proved some concepts out. What did you think?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, it's just execution, but yeah, I think we're getting there. Maybe, we're not here talking about like Marvel movies right now. I have not seen the new Guardians of the Galaxy. I do plan on watching it, but maybe there's a bit of burnout when it comes to that. And then this is what people want, it's like they want this kind of escapism. So
I'll say this. Yeah. Mario is the second best Chris Pratt movie I've seen so far this year.
All right then.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I said before that, like, I thought I appreciated Ant-Man for being, better than, the reviews had led me to expect going in, but no, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, fantastic, and to, like, James Gunn's trilogy, and, they could make more movies involving these characters, but this one feels like a good place to, let them rest for this moment. But it's very funny. It has actually has some real heart to it. Like with when you find out about Rocket's origin, because like that if you're sensitive to like the bad things happening to cute animals, this film will give you nightmares. And there's some incredible action here too. Like there's an amazing one shot take of the guard towards the end of the movie of the Guardians taking on the bad guys in this one corridor that is just like, there's just so much going on there, but yet it's still like, filmed so well that you're just kind of like, wow, man. Like, I just want to know how they put that together. Cause it is insane to watch, but it's just like amazing to watch in action too. So yeah, thoroughly enjoyed it. Recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. Like I said, planning on watching it, and my expectations are fairly neutral, but I've enjoyed the Guardians of the Galaxy and their related appearances, so I don't think I'll be disappointed with this at all.
And touching on Guardians of the Galaxy, like the formula that James Gunn has set for that ragtag team of like space heroes. Nintendo needs to do that with Star Fox. They need.
I'd love to see a Star Fox movie.
They need their own Guardians of the Galaxy Star Fox like movie. On Fox trying to find who killed his father, and he finds out Andros, or no, who was it? It was another pilot, Pig. Pig took out his father on the orders of Andros, and dealing with that. So yeah, listen, Nintendo, Star Fox movie, Star Fox franchise revival, just do it.
Yeah, it's like I like your idea right here, but I have a feeling Nintendo's grip on how they want their characters to look is probably going to clash with like a maverick like James Gunn, who just the series worked because Marvel kind of let him do just about whatever he wanted within the realms of PG-13. So, like I said, I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think there's like Star Fox is just like one more Nintendo franchise that we can get a good adaptation out of. So,
yeah, I would welcome it. How about that? I would welcome to watch that, and I think it would be. I think that would, in my head, like I would love to really see that. So, as much as I would like to see a Metroid or a oh god, I'm sorry, a Zelda. Yeah, sorry, like a Zelda. Like, yeah, I would love to, but yeah, I agree. It just has to be treated just right, and yeah, I think that's it. Like. We're old, guys. I'm going to say this because these franchises have been around for a long, long time. And that's part of the reason why this movie is successful, is because these characters been around for a long, long time. And just having, by the way, Donkey Kong in it is just very good, because because even if you're really, really old, you'll know that Mario and Donkey Kong, that's like, yeah, you got to have those two in conflict. You got to in some way and somehow, right? So I hadn't seen a lot of the trailers, but I was like, before watching this movie, but having all that included is like, yeah, we need that. So that's,
I mean, these characters are 40 years old, and that was kind of the starter rivalry that we knew of, and how they executed that within this film was pretty classic. It's like they're enemies but not enemies kind of thing. Like I see Bowser and Mario more of enemies. Like Donkey Kong is like, hey, monkey, stop taking my girl, and then like and Donkey Kong Jr. like, hey, mustache man, stop kidnapping my dad. It's just always that back and forth, like, rivalry between those two. But yeah, I want to see a resurgence too of Donkey Kong, meaning Donkey Kong Country. I mean, Tropical Freeze wasn't that long ago, but still feels like a long time ago. The Donkey Kong Country reboots were dope, and watching Donkey Kong in this movie reminded me of that Donkey Kong CG series that came out in the early 2000s. Like, it was crap, but I liked it at that time. I think it came on like the Family Channel, which turned into ABC Family. Yeah, I think Donkey Kong's could be your next easy choice to do. Have him, Diddy Kong, and Dixie. We saw them in the audience. They were there, and there's a whole kingdom of Kongs that you can use. So it's like, I think that'd be like good, easy next step to take as far as the spinoff goes.
Yeah, they did the DK rap, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah, DK rap. Yeah.
Hilarious.
And it's like there was a time, like you said. I mean, Mario and Donkey Kong. Those were like our beginnings. And of course, like Mario's solo series kind of like took off like like a rocket. But then in '94, when Donkey Kong Country came out, like Donkey Kong's prominence like came back. I mean,
skyrocketed.
We got that Donkey Kong '94 game, which was dope on Game Boy, which was like basically a hearkening to the old Donkey Kong. And then we got the Donkey Kong Country game, and I feel like that takeoff kind of extinguished pretty quickly, probably after Donkey Kong 64, because then after that, what we get, like Donkey Konga and Donkey Kong's Jungle Beat on Game Boy Advance, whatever. I feel like he didn't get the same treatment or prestige as he did when Rare did those games on Super Nintendo. And so now that Retro kind of like handles the Donkey Kong Country brand, like I think it's a good time to kind of strike while the iron's hot, especially after that movie, and give us a new game, which would build new interest, and then possibly spin off maybe like another movie or maybe a series on Donkey Kong and build up some of these characters again.
Here's a twist. How about a video game based off of the movie that's based off of a video game? Anyway.
It's like,
well, certainly like any Nintendo version of that has to be better than Street Fighter the movie, the game. So just the most obvious and most maligned version of what you're talking about here.
It's funny because those type of games have been historically bad.
Yeah.
But if you F up a video game adaptation of a video game movie adaptation, like that's bad.
Yeah.
Don't
do it, Nintendo. Don't do it. Just please. Just give us next proper releases. That's fine. I'm good with that. All right. So
yeah.
But yeah, I would love to see a little bit more of a revival on Donkey Kong stuff. So I think in that, if anything, those are the strongest like references we got. Like they care about these characters.
Exactly, and it's like this movie actually did kind of like reinvigorate. I mean, I've always been a fan, but it reinvigorated my like fandom in a sense of like I purchased certain merchandising like that RC car. I've been going back and playing a lot of these older games that Jason was listing off earlier, especially Mario All Stars on the Super Nintendo. They had like the cleanest versions of Mario 1 through 3. It's a timeless franchise that honestly has sold me on Nintendo. When I was a kid back in the day, and you knew somebody who had a Nintendo, that's probably one of the first games you played was Super Mario Brothers. And then I got my Nintendo and got my Mario games and all that good stuff. But then when the Super Nintendo came out, that came prepackaged with Super Mario World, that was like the first game you played. And then when I got my N64, I bought Mario 64 with it. So it was like every generation and every progression, except for the GameCube, really. Every console generation from Nintendo always came out with like a Mario game at launch. And that's what always tied me to Nintendo, what made me think of Nintendo. and why I always gave money to Nintendo.
Yep.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah. Yeah, I'd have to say I'm definitely a Nintendo fan for life. So I mean, it's and Mario because I mean it goes back very deeply into my childhood. Like I'm just like it's been there. Which probably I'm not the only one. So yeah, definitely looking forward to like how they're going to execute on this. We'll call it next phase of the MCU, the other
Yeah.
an NCU, Nintendo Cinematic Universe. No,
SMB or S SMBCU. Let's go with that.
okay, cool. Any last words there, Jason, on the whole conversation?
Nah, it's like, but you're right. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do next. I mean, like I said, it's probably gonna be a little while before we get a sequel, but definitely looking forward to whatever Illumination does with this next, as well as what other Nintendo properties are going to get the treatment. I mean, Zelda is the obvious treatment, obvious like thing to go for next. But yeah, I went with Myron. I think Metroid Prime could actually work as a live action thing, and also just throwing this out there, Nintendo. It's like if you want to do like a 52 episode anime adaptation of Fire Emblem Three Houses, I'd be there for that too as well.
Yes. And
Yeah, or if you want like like get UFO Table to like actually like adapt something worthwhile, like throw them at Xenoblade Chronicles X. Just throwing it out there.
oh, that'd be dope, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, kind of interesting territory we've entered here, so and definitely cool, and potentially overdue. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's pretty much a wrap it up for us, right? Are we
Yep.
Yep.
awesome? All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys next time.
Have a good weekend.
Not everyone.